to speak geek. This is the Geek Speak Show.
From days of long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend. The legend of Voltron, defender of the universe. A mighty robot, loved by good, feared by evil. As Voltron's legend grew, peace settled across the galaxy. On planet Earth, a galaxy alliance was formed. Together with the good planets of the solar system, they maintained peace throughout the universe. Until a new horrible menace threatened the galaxy. Voltron was needed once more. This is the story of the super force of space explorers. Specially trained and sent by the Alliance to bring back Voltron, defender of the universe.
Voltron, defenders of the universe.
Yeah, we're all back in 7th grade now. Welcome back to the Geek Speak Show. Those of you going to be at New York Comic Con this Sunday, 2:45 New York time, make your way to room 1A21 with your blazing swords ready. Voltron panel taking place right there. Let me bring on Jeremy Corray, creative director of World Event Productions and Voltron. Jeremy, welcome to the Geek Speak Show.
Henry, thanks for having me on, and it's awesome to be speaking geek with you, and thanks for playing the entire intro. Boy, I don't care how many times I hear that. I agree. You're 6 years old eating Cocoa Puffs in front of the TV. You just hear that, the voice of God, Peter Cullen, on there, and it's always great, isn't it? It's just a great way to start the day.
Yeah, I was actually going to, believe it or not, I was actually going to ask you to confirm that. The whole time, I always thought when I was little, is that Optimus Prime? But it is the great Peter Cullen doing that, right?
Yeah, but that's what fans don't realize. There's this great crossover universe that will reveal someday between Transformers and Voltron, and somehow Thundercats will be in there as well with Silverhawks and the one that was on the comic strip where they're underwater. What was that called? Tiger Sharks.
Yeah, we're really geeking out here on the show.
We're gonna blend it all together. If Ridley Scott can do Blade Runner and Alien World, we're just gonna blend them all together.
So
Voltron them together, if you will.
Yeah, I take it you've seen the Prometheus Blu-ray little thing that he has there?
Yeah, I can't even begin. Where do I start on that? It's pretty mind-blowing, actually. But, jokes aside, I always did want to do something with Voltron and Thundercats or something, like they crash land and you look up and there's the thunder layer and we proceed to just all have, geekasms and head explosions and things. So who knows? There's maybe a spoiler for you. I know you don't like spoilers, but...
Yeah, I was going to say potential spoiler alert for everybody.
Dream spoiler. It's just me riffing.
Yeah, so again, the panel is going to be at New York Comic Con this Sunday, room 1A21, 2:45 New York time. Without giving away any more spoilers, tell us what can attendees see at the Voltron panel?
Well, if anyone's joined us there last year at New York Comic Con or joined us at San Diego or any of these other cons that we go to, they know it is a wild rumpus where we give out prizes, we show off some of the fun things we're doing in the realms of comics. Who knew? Yeah, right? You actually have comic news at a Comic-Con convention, which is what we're doing this year as well. We're going to be focusing on Viz Comics. They're producing these awesome Voltron Force comics every month. The artist, Jacob Chelbot, will be there, and he'll actually be drawing live, and given that it's family day on Sunday, we're hoping to have a lot of kids there that we can give away things to, and they'll be shouting at Jacob to draw this, so he's going to kind of give a little insight in the creation of comic. Our writer Brian Smitty is going to be there. He's done the Stuff of Legend, and which just got optioned by Disney, I believe, so this is a real chance to see some up and coming talent first before they kind of blow up. And on the Dynamite side, we've got Voltron coming out with Voltron Year One, which actually comes out tomorrow, Voltron Year One #5, and our artist on that, Craig Cermak, he's going to be working with Garth Ennis. That was just announced as well. So yeah,
huge.
I know they're doing some stuff for Dynamite on what's it called, the Red Team, and so yeah, a lot of these guys, Craig Cermak's just bringing a really wild, different side to the Voltron universe. So we'll sneak peek some future issues there, some killer artwork, and the big thing, we're going to be giving away a Black Lion. We're going to be forming the head, the Matty Collector Lions have been coming out every other month, and just fans have been going nuts. I mean, this is going to form the biggest, baddest Voltron you've seen yet. I mean, you got to clear your desk space off of the Optimus Prime or whatever else you got on there, because this thing is just huge at 23 inches, and fans have been waiting for it. And now October 15th, Black Lion they get to form the head. So this is the Voltron toy you wish you had as a kid, but now that you have a credit card, you can actually do something about it.
Yeah, actually, funny you mentioned that. Actually, here on our console, I do have my Voltron from way back when, right here, staring at me.
Nice. Now, is it the die-cast Matchbox Poppy type Bandai thing? That's good. That's good. Yes, Seth Green told me, you got to turn it around and look for the stickers. Make sure the little stickers are on there, and that's how you know it's really from the original kind of Bandai run. So those are good ones, man. But I'm telling you, the stuff that Matty Collector's doing kind of makes up for the old Panache Place one that you could put the figures inside of it. So they're really crushing it, and now it all kind of comes to a head October 15th, pun completely intended. So we have fun. We have fun on the panels. They're always kind of wild. So I'm hoping fans show up and bring their kids, and we'll give out like a Voltron jersey and some other things. And who knows, maybe sneak peek some things from all the other projects we have going on.
Yeah, we got a lot of Voltron fans in our audience, and also here on behind the scenes and on the on-air staff also. But we've talked about it on the show many times. One of the things that has been talked about, it's in development, now it's not, now it is, now it's back on, is the Voltron live-action movie. Now, do you know, is it happening, or what's going on with the movie?
Sure. Well, it's always been in development with their producers is Atlas Entertainment. They did that Dark Knight Rises movie. I don't know if anybody saw that this summer, but
the movie, you may have seen it.
Yeah. I think it was like in a couple theaters, very limited release. Might have been VOD, day and date. I don't know. And then we're working with Kickstart Productions, who's done Wanted and such. So and then it's set up at Relativity. So it's always been moving forward. But as you guys know, creating a giant robot epic adventure, you can't just go back in the garage and the green screen and shoot it, well, unless you're Alex Albrecht, who did that with his Voltron the End short starring Timothy Odmanson, which we might screen that at the panel. But yeah, we want to do this right because we know the expectations are as big as Voltron's foot here. So we're taking our time to get the script right because as they say, if it's not right on the page, it's not right on the stage. So that's what we're doing right now. And Thomas Dean Donnelly and Josh Oppenheimer, who stopped by with Comic-Con, they've thrown us a draft, and we're kind of reviewing it with Relativity. So when we got something to announce, we'll do it, but we're going to make sure that it's right and can hopefully exceed expectations on all fronts, because I've been waiting a long time as a fan to see Voltron Form Blazing Sword in IMAX. So I want to make sure it's the best it can be. So it's always in development, but these things just suddenly you're going to hear a lot of stuff one day, and it's just going to blow up and be everywhere. So but to me, it is such a natural transition after the success of Transformers. It's like Voltron had such a human element, and the characters in there. It wasn't just all about the robots. So that's what they've managed to capture, which is about all I can say on that. So it's nice.
Yeah, we all got geekgasms here on the show, and then when we read it online that Guillermo del Toro may have been involved in the Voltron movie. The new movie that he has, Pacific Rim, it kind of sounds like it could have been Voltron. Do you know if he was going to be involved or what happened with that?
From what I've seen in Pacific Rim, and I laugh, I'm just like, hey, Guillermo, call us. We're over here. You want to do Voltron? Let's talk. But like from what I've seen of it, it does seem like this like total blend of, Voltron meets, kaiju meets just, it's this mixer. So I don't know. I'm interested as a fan to see it, and hopefully that will, kind of prove to everyone that this kind of genre can work, and then maybe we can take a cue off that and hit it to the next level. But from what I've seen of both projects, there are enough differences, and Voltron just comes with its own universe and mythology. But of course, I'm looking forward to seeing what Guillermo's cooking up. Should be wicked and weird and wonderful,
like everything else he does. We're talking to Jeremy Corray, creative director of WEP. They're the producers of Voltron Defender of the Universe and the new Voltron Force. The panel Voltron Form Blazing Fun, that'll be this Sunday, New York Comic Con, room 1821. Jeremy, what, in your opinion, what do you think 25 years later, 26 almost now, why is Voltron still so popular, just as popular as it was back then?
It's crazy, right? And I think what you're seeing is every year a new generation discovers it. And I've asked the kids, it's 8-year-olds that'll come up and they know all the characters. And I say, where do you see it? And they, Netflix is the answer. And it's just, it's what the marketing dweebs would call inherited entertainment, where it's just something that, I'm a father myself now. And, I want to share all the mythology and all the things that I love. It's just like modern campfire tales or something. Instead, we're not talking about woolly mammoths that we took down. We're talking about, Back to the Future and Gremlins. And, my son's never even seen Gremlins, but he knows all the rules and how it works. So I think it's that. It's just a credit to all the fans out there from, on Voltron.com. And I see it every day. It's me monitoring the Twitter at Voltron. And I see it all the time where fathers and mothers are, oh my gosh, my son loves Voltron. I'm so happy. And they're exposing it to him. And I think, as my boss, Ted Koppler, says too, there's something timeless about, the mythology, and it's a little bit macabre as well. Just, it is like some kind of grim fairy tale, and there's just something we can get behind of 5 space explorers kind of becoming involved in this intergalactic warfare and discovering something bigger and about themselves, and to me a lot of it too was just the anticipation. I can remember just drooling at the the 4th day or something when we'd actually form Voltron as we find the keys and the process leading up to it. So it's a show I still appreciate, and anytime I get lost in grown-up things, all I need to do is cue it up here on the computer and just kind of take me back and be like, okay, yeah, that's why we're doing this. So there's just something magic about how it all came together. It's kind of unexplainable.
Yeah, you actually hit on something there. I hadn't even thought about it. It does have, obviously, the sci-fi elements are there, but it also has a lot of magic and fantasy elements. There's the robots, of course, but then there's a witch, there's a king, and all of that blends together. And people that like, kids especially, that like both of those genres, sci-fi, fantasy, magic, it's all in there for you.
Yeah, I call it the original kind of mashup show, and just in watching it, I appreciate just the style that Toei had put into it, from King Alfor's tomb having this Egyptian theme to the medieval castle, but yet here it is, the castle transforms into this high tech thing. So it was like tech slammed together with ancient, which is something we tried to capture a lot in the new series Voltron Force. Whenever we'd be going through the designs, I'd say that's what it needs to be, is just this thing that we know it's technology, we know somehow it's working there, whether it be something like Voltron's Nexus that allows it to transform. Kind of one of the features of the new series was that everyone gets a chance to form the head. So you'd have Red Center Voltron, and he would form magma pistols, or Blue Center would form a Titanic trident. So it's kind of a Voltron formula we tried to nudge and just evolve a little bit, puts a little bit of that problem solving in it. And so that's what we kind of tried to do, is like, hey, at the end of the day, Voltron there is this magical element that can't be replicated in a lab somewhere.
Were you on board the Voltron Force team from day one, from its development?
Sure, yeah, of course. And there had been various iterations of that going way back a couple years. And we'd always been kind of talking to Kickstart Productions and Jason Netter over there. And at one time it was called Voltron Panthera Force, which was pretty cool. I wish we could have explored that universe. It was my whole thing of, I was like, hey, if we're going to push this thing of unity and coming together, what better way than if you aren't even of the same species as me, and our species has been at war. So I was wanting like aliens and animals and different crazy things, and was kind of, maybe reeled back in for my own good. And we ended up doing, kind of a hybrid show that would add these, new cadet elements that would introduce and a new generation to our classic team, but at the same time we could catch up with Pidge and Hunk and Lance and Keith and Princess Allura, the favorites, and see what they're doing. So a lot of credit has to be given to writer Todd Garfield, who was really able to flesh those characters out so they didn't seem so two-dimensional, and really gave them some backstories. And I think fans are appreciating that. Whether the older fans, it was definitely created with the younger ones in mind, both from art style to execution. But I think, as I see on the Netflix reviews, a lot of those fans are seeing we're putting a lot of Easter eggs in them for it. So now that it's streaming on Netflix, I think a lot of fans who maybe didn't get Nicktoons can now watch it in HD on Netflix, and they're really appreciating what we put into it.
Before the first season of Voltron Force premiered, when it looked like it was actually getting some traction and was going to happen, did you at any time, because I can tell by the way you speak, you actually are a Voltron super fan, at any time did you think, are we going to get the fan base mad, or is it going to be sacrilege that we're touching this at any time at all?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and it's just something I still struggle with. Just given that first season, it's like, okay, did we do right by the fans? And you're in a constant balancing act. But I hope they see decisions, say like the center configuration of Voltron, which seems kind of radical at first, but I think fans see it from that point of view, like, okay, that this has to evolve a little bit. We can't be completely stuck in the past, especially if this is aimed at younger kids. But I think anyone who watches the show with their son, with their daughter, is going to realize real quick, like, oh wow, this is why they did some of the things that they did. But yeah, it's always a balance. But at the end of the day, I try to get out there and get on our Voltron forum and kind of explain where we're coming from on these things. But I don't know, maybe it's me, but I'm always up for just taking different takes on something, that because at the end of the day, we can always go back and watch the original Voltron. We can always love it, but hey, well, here's this flavor, and we're going to do future flavors, and my hope is that we do something for that core base, and we do some kind of Voltron with an edgier anime style, and something the classic fans can really get behind. So we've got projects in the works, and however you like your Voltron served up, we're going to try and make sure that that's available to you.
Actually, I had my Back to the Future moment with my son, who's 9 years old and watches Voltron Force. Back a few years ago, we had Bob Gale on when it was the Back to the Future 25th anniversary, and I told him that when the Back to the Future movie, the first one, came out, that was the first time that, because my dad wasn't a big sci-fi or comic book fan like I was growing up, but that was the one movie where we actually connected. We went to the movie theater and he started telling me about what it was like back in the 50s, because that's when Marty McFly goes back. I had sort of the same thing when my son discovered Voltron Force, and you should have seen his eyes and the look on his face when I took out my Voltron and said, well, I have something to show you. And then we connected there, and I started telling him about the original Voltron, and that was just a great moment. Now, for you guys as the producers, you sort of mentioned it right a second ago. Where's the point where you decide to make it a completely original story and maybe put in an Easter egg or two? But I guess it's treading the line again, where between how do we please the original fan base and make it new for my son and the new generation of fans.
Yeah, it is. You're walking a line, and I think we tried to kind of give the best of both worlds this season, where it was we had to introduce these characters somehow in the Voltron universe through someone's eyes, so every character wasn't walking out and just spouting exposition about their backstory. So we felt the best way to do it was like, what if the world's biggest Voltron fan got a chance to be in the Voltron Force? So it was a balance, and I think that's where you've cast me correctly as the Voltron super fan on the team. I would always try and make sure there were enough Voltron moments in there, whether it be episode 17 when Sven returns and kind of paying homage to that history, as we all remember being totally freaked out when he got taken out of the show. But that's where Todd Garfield could come in and just kind of edit down some of the things and say well, look, this isn't what's important. So I would get my little call outs where I can, but that's what we decided to do for better or worse, is kind of stick to the original and try and really respect it, while at the same time moving some things forward and making the show about change. And what we're going through is you as a father, which I love your Voltron story. I mean, that's great. Yeah, I've had this similar experience where you pull out the old school toys and be like, yeah, guess what, the toy is right here, and it always ends up with a lion leg broken, of course, or swallowed. So it's
now you
it's
know why
tough.
my son doesn't touch mine.
Exactly. I mean, there's certain toys. Be like, son, this is the Cadillac of the playground. You do not play with this. Does not go in the sandbox. Do you understand that if I wake up and this thing's sunburnt in the color, somebody's going to get it? Which I tell you, that's the hardest thing about those Matty collector ones too, is that at the end of the day, yes, they're collectibles, but boy, they're great toys. I mean, Scott Knightlick, who's going to be at our panel, he just always talks about, like, I can't stop playing with this. I can't stop putting in different figures in the lions. And in fact, in my office here, I've got the old Panache Place Castle of Lions. I think I'm going to set it up with the Matty Collector Lions and maybe take a picture and post it on our Facebook or something. But yeah, to answer your question, it is. We're always riding the line, and we tried to make the show just about change and how instead of just kind of throwing these characters, I hope that as you watch the whole season on Netflix, you can kind of really appreciate the new characters grow into those roles, and it kind of parallels what we're going through as fathers, where we're teaching our kids, just about life and how to maneuver through it, how to pilot your robot lion through life. And so, by the time you get to the episodes where that transition's changing, I mean, I know in working with these characters in and out, it was like, wow, it's a powerful message that maybe, a lot of fans don't agree with. They don't want change, but I think it's something parents will understand, that kind of passing of the torch and saying, I've got my turn and now it's going to be your turn someday. So all this Voltron will be yours someday, son.
Yeah, actually, I see it as I got that actually earlier this year with the new Spider-Man movie. I didn't like it too much, but then I also had to realize, that just means that my Spider-Man, it will always be there, the Peter Parker one. But this is the new generation Spider-Man. This is what they like. This is what they expect. So it's kind of the same thing with Voltron and Thundercats too. But I gotta tell you, Jeremy, honestly, I've seen Voltron Force and I really, really enjoy what you guys are doing with it. The Thundercats, while it had the name and the characters, it didn't ring back to the Thundercats I remember, which is probably why it didn't do so well. But this one, Voltron Force, takes me completely back to, like I said, when I was 6th grade, 7th grade. Love it. Can sit there and enjoy it with my son, and it's perfect.
Well, I appreciate that, and believe me, there's much to admire about Thundercats. I love their character design, and it is weird that we kind of went a little bit Western and they went a little bit Eastern with their look. I always think it's funny too that we're with Mattel, who's known for muscular warrior figures and things, and they're with Bandai, who's known for awesome robot die-cast details. So who knows? But I appreciate that, and we tried to put in a lot of those little magical moments, and there's stuff that I would have loved to have pumped up even more and done differently, but you can always go back to the original Thundercats and such, and I have a feeling that even if we did everything exactly like the 1984 show, found the same studios and just somehow got all the artists, they'd be like, well, it's not different enough. So that's the age we live in, where anyone can reach out and insult us at Voltron on Twitter, and I'll read it. But I'm proud of all the work that we did on it, and I'm hoping we can do future episodes. But the movie's kind of heating up right now, so I want to, we kind of want to focus on that, and because certainly the recognition of Voltron would be much bigger after that. So new Voltron stuff is always in production, but as for Voltron Force, we're kind of evaluating where we can do more episodes and when. So as soon as something is we can announce, I'll put it on our Facebook.
Or we'll have him here on the show. It's Jeremy Corray, creative director of World Event Productions, Voltron Forum Blazing Fun. The panel will be this Sunday, New York Comic Con, room 1A21. Make your way over there, 2:45 New York time. Jeremy, thanks a lot for coming on. Love geeking out about Voltron and other stuff with you. You're welcome back anytime on the show.
Absolutely. We'll get into Vehicle Voltron next time.
We'll do that. Thanks, Jeremy.
The Geek Speak Show will be back in a moment.